All right, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Chris Carter, and I'm the Executive Director of the Bankhead Theater. And I'm here today with Gaby Moreno, who is going to be joining us at the Bankhead on Friday, December 2nd at 8 p.m. You can get tickets online at livermorearts.org. And we're super excited to have Gaby come with the Gaby Moreno Quartet. And I'll just say a little bit about Gaby, and we're going to get right in. We've got I have a lot of questions, Gaby. And I'm definitely looking forward to learning more about you. But I'll give a quick background for those who are interested. Since moving to Los Angeles from her native Guatemala, singer, songwriter, and producer Gaby Moreno has released 7 full-length records, earned a Grammy nomination for her album Illusion, and also received multiple Latin Grammy nominations. And you won a Latin Grammy, correct, for Best New Artist. In 2013, she's also received an Emmy nomination for co-writing the Parks and Rec theme song. So I definitely want to ask you about that. In 2006, you took the grand prize in the John Lennon Songwriting Contest, which is very cool. Yeah. You also sing the theme song and voice a character in the multi-Emmy award-winning Disney children's television series, Elena of Avalor, which features Disney's first Latin princess, which is great. And you've also shared the international stage with pop music luminaries such as Bono, Andrea Bocelli, Tracy Chapman, Annie DeFranco, Punch Brothers, Hugh Laurie, Buena Vista Social Club, Calexico, David Gray, and many more. So I'm super excited that you're coming to our stage in just a few weeks. And Gaby, I got to tell you, I've become a big fan of your music recently. I have the pleasure of curating all the programs that we do here at our theater. And originally, when I was working on this season, and your name came across my desk, and I started listening to your music, and I was getting really excited about the possibility of bringing you here. And it doesn't happen often. You know, I get excited about a lot of the performers that we bring through, but in particular, I love discovering things for myself, and I've really enjoyed just getting to going through your catalog and listening to all your music. And I've been trying to figure out describing your style, because you're a little bit eclectic. So how would you kind of talk about what your style is musically?
It's always so hard for me to describe that, but I came up with a phrase, I think, in the last few years, and I think that pretty much sums it up. And it's Spanglish folk soul. So I don't know if that says anything, but just basically says that I always will sing in Spanish and English, and then that I love folk music and everything that comes with it, like the Americana world.
Yeah.
But then I also love soul music and blues and jazz and those styles. So I don't know. It's a bit of like those two worlds.
Well, it's funny. Sometimes I was listening to some of your music, and I kept hearing. Sometimes I'd hear the Beatles. Sometimes I'd hear like Nina Simone. Sometimes I'd hear a little Bob Dylan, and sometimes there was just something. It was always a little bit different every time, which I really enjoyed. And my feeling is I heard that you originally started singing just in English or performing in English, and then you tell me a little bit about that.
So growing up in Guatemala, I mean, I was listening, of course, to everything that my parents were listening to, or that was on the radio, that was mostly pop music that was coming from Mexico City. I shouldn't say Mexico City, just Mexico in general, but also other parts of Latin America, of course. And just, I liked it, but it wasn't something it wasn't music that was like connecting with me on a deeper level. Until I made a trip with my family to New York, and I heard blues music for the first time. And I remember that was the moment where I said, oh my God, what is this? Like, it's speaking to me in a way that no other music had ever done before. So that's where it kind of began, that's where I started writing and playing guitar and really got serious about music, about writing music, about singing, and in in a specific genre. And I remember thinking, oh, this could never sound cool in Spanish. It's not authentic. Like I have to sing in English if I want to start singing the blues or something soulful or jazz. And so for some reason I thought that was what what had to be done. And I started writing songs in English, really.
Mm-hmm.
And started finding ways to like come here to the States and be in music here. And I got super lucky. I was signed to a label, and then I enrolled in a music school, and that was my ticket to come here to the US and on a student visa. And just immediately I started working, and exclusively I was singing in English.
Yeah.
It wasn't until like years later that somebody said to me, like, you know what, you should like try to unearth some of those older songs like boleros and songs that your parents and your grandparents like were listening to, and see if like you can sing some of that stuff. And I remember I did it at a show here in LA, at a little club called Largo, where I was doing a little residency with a friend of mine. And people came up to me afterwards and said that music is really special.
What was the first one? What was the first song you sang?
It's a song that I still sing to this day, is Quizás.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
I
love
think
that song. I really
I do
do.
too. I think that
Yeah.
might have been the first one I heard when I was listening to you. That was the first one that came up. And
That's what,
so,
yeah. And I recorded it, and I kind of did my own version of it. And yeah, I realized, I can take this music and make it my own. And
yeah.
then also I started writing in Spanish and finding my own voice and my own style with it.
So when you were growing up in Guatemala, is guitar, first of all, is guitar like your primary instrument?
Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
my yeah, I would say it's my only instrument. I mean, I play a little piano, I know
Yeah.
chords and everything, but I'm not comfortable enough to like play it on stage. Like I feel very, very comfortable with the guitar.
Great. Me too. I love guitar, by the way.
Sure. Yes.
So as you were growing up in Guatemala, uh, kind of when did you start performing? Pretty early on in life, or what was your kind of impetus for getting into this crazy industry?
Yeah, I started there at a very, very young age, because so my father was a promoter in Guatemala. He would bring
Mhm.
artists from different parts of Latin America to do concerts in Guatemala. Pretty big artists. Like one time he brought Ricky Martin, and he asked me to like open for him when I was 10 years
Oh,
old, just because I was already singing. And he was like, he thought that was a good idea. And I actually really enjoyed it. So I remember like at that age, really, when I was 10, 11, I was already singing at festivals,
hmm.
telethons, opening for artists, just anywhere I could. And I really loved it. And my mother was and still is a radio personality in Guatemala. She still has a radio show, but she's been in radio and TV since she was very young too. So both of my parents were in that world, in the entertainment world, and then that really helped, and they were very supportive, and they were always looking for opportunities for me to sing wherever I could.
Yeah. Were you
Um,
pretty comfortable on the stage even at that age?
yeah, yeah. I remember, I mean, the first time, of course, I think I was 9 or something, and I was really scared. But then I remember when I got on stage and I started singing, that all that went away. And I remember telling my mom, like, oh, I want to do this again, please. Like, and I would beg them to like find other places for me to sing. Like I really, really loved it. And
Yeah.
I remember thinking at that age already that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Wow. But by the way, just an aside, I've been to Guatemala twice,
Oh,
uh, to Antigua, which is a
nice.
beautiful city. So
Yeah, it's really beautiful there. That's
yeah, it's a long time ago, but I still remember it really
that's
fondly. Just
great.
really beautiful
Yeah,
city.
I
Um,
love it there too.
I so net. so you moved to the States. You had a couple of records. One thing I saw recently was a video of you performing with the National Symphony
Yes. Oh
Kennedy
my
Center. Tell me about that. That was amazing.
that was, yeah, for sure up there. One of the highlights of my career. I was asked to do that because Ben Folds was, or is he still does this. He curates this night called NSO Declassified, and he invites two or three artists to sing, two songs with the NSO. And I met him because I did this show with Chris Thiele called Live from Here,
Mm-hmm.
and Ben Folds was one of the guests, and so we connected there, and he was very sweet, and we stayed in touch. And then one day he just asked me, he's like, "Hey, I do this thing with the NSO. Would you like to come and sing a couple of your songs?" And I was like, "Oh my God, this is the first time that I'm singing with an orchestra like this." And it was an absolute dream come true, really. I can't even tell you what I felt just being on that stage with that orchestra behind me, and it was just me with my acoustic guitar
Mm-hmm.
and band. So, and a really, really incredible experience.
Well, the song I saw you singing was "Till Waking Light," which I absolutely loved it.
Thank you.
Did you write that one?
I did a
Yeah.
few years ago. Yeah, that's a very powerful song that I felt like I needed to put out there.
Yeah.
It's told from like the point of view of a family of immigrants trying to make their way to the United States, just to trying to find a safe space, trying to find shelter, running away from horrible things. We've all heard those heartbreaking
Yeah.
stories, and it's just something that I felt like I
Well,
needed to put into
it's a
something.
great song, and I love how you sing it in English and Spanish throughout the song. There's
Yeah.
something about that style that I think is just not many people do that, which it's just a great tribute to you, and was a great call on that song. So
Thank
kudos to you.
thank you.
Um, by the way, Ben Folds was here in September. We had him.
That's right.
Yeah.
He sent me a photo of this giant poster with my face on it, and he's like, "Who is this?" And I was like, "Oh my God, where are you? What is this?" He's like,
Oh,
"Oh,
that's
the
awesome.
Bankhead." Yeah.
Yeah, he was great. We loved him. He performed with for our gala with the symphony. Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
amazing.
but to be
Oh,
honest, I've we have about 50 to 60 shows here a year that we present, and I think just based on listening to your music, your performance coming up is one of the ones I'm most excited for. So I'm
thank you. That means so much.
very happy to have you. Can you tell me a little bit about your kind of your process for songwriting or your creative process? Like, how do you come up with your ideas for these songs? Are you always writing lyrics out, or does the music come a little bit easier? How does that work for you?
For me, specifically, the music seems to come first. I'll always be with my instrument, and I'll have like an idea, a musical idea, and then I'll start humming a melody, and then the music sort of dictates what I want to write about. The music dictates the
Yeah,
mood, the emotion. Like if it's going to be an introspective song, a sadder song, or just or something a bit more fun or whatever. Um, Usually that's what I would say. Like
okay.
90% of the time, that's how it happens. Um, Sometimes though, I'll have an assignment. Someone will be like, "Hey, we need a song about this," and so like, okay, so I'll come up with an idea with the lyrics first, and then think about the
I
music.
see. Is that hard to do, or is it starting to come a little bit easier for you?
Um, it's a bit of a challenge, I would say.
Yeah,
It usually happens when it's movies, when I have to write songs for movies or a TV show or something like that, something specific,
yeah.
which I have done recently. But It's yeah. I mean, it is a challenge, but it's a good challenge.
Okay.
I like that. Yeah.
Well, you did write or you co-wrote the theme song for the Parks and Rec show. How did that come
Yeah.
about?
But that was a little easier because it was instrumental,
Yeah,
lyrics, and only 30 seconds. So I was like, okay, that's doable. That's
you
not
can do that.
that doesn't sound that hard. But that came about. I mean, this was like, oh my God, 12 years ago. Oh,
Hmm.
yeah, 2009, 13 years ago. Oh my God, time flies. Anyways, I remember I got an email saying that, oh, we're looking for a song for this new show. Um, and it's an email that they sent out to a bunch of different composers and songwriters, and I think it was like 200 or something of that went out. And so I remember sitting there with my guitar and thinking like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a whirl. Like, I
Hmm.
knew deep down in my heart that I was not gonna get it, but I was like, just for fun, like I'll just give it a try. And so I came up with the idea just with my acoustic guitar. But I was reading the description and the reference that they sent of, they sent different references of different songs. And it sounded like they were looking for something a little more orchestral. And so I contacted my friend Vincent Jones, who's an incredible keyboard player, and I went over to his place and I showed him my idea. And then he just kind of like went to town with all the orchestral elements, and then we finished it together and we sent it in, and never expected in a million years that we would get it. It was really,
Wow.
really a huge surprise when we got the call and said, oh yeah, by the way, you guys got it.
So what? So like when you're surfing channels, if that show comes on, you just sit through it and watch it, or at least
I
the
watch it
beginning.
because I am, to honest to God, like one of my favorite shows. Like even if I hadn't gotten the theme song, I would still tell you the same thing. I love that show so much.
Oh,
I watched it. I watched every episode when it came out, and when it's on, I'll watch it. I'll keep watching. When I'm on the plane, like if it's on, like I'll watch it, and then and then I'll finish it, and then I'm seeing the credits roll, and I see my name, and I was like, "What is life? Like what is this?" It just
that's
feels so
awesome.
surreal. Yeah.
So fun. And you're also are part of this Disney show as well, right? So you sang
So
the theme
Elena of
song.
Avalor, yeah, I sang the theme song.
Hmm.
That's not my song. I just sing it.
Yeah.
I'm still so honored to have been asked to do that because I'm a true Disney kid at heart.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was really fun to do that. And I
Wow.
was also asked to voice a character in the show. So that was the first time that I got to do that. So that was really cool.
Do you think you might do more of that? The voiceover?
I mean, if I get called, I'll do it forever. Yes.
Okay. It was fun then.
Oh yeah.
Oh, good. And then have you've been touring a lot lately, or what have you been doing lately?
Yeah. I just got back a week ago. I was on tour for 6 weeks. I was in Europe. A
Hmm.
really, really extensive European tour. It was really fun. I got to go to Paris, London, Madrid, Barcelona, a bunch of different cities in Germany, Switzerland, Austria, even Slovenia, Ireland. Oh my God, it was amazing. Really,
Wow.
really fun.
What
Yeah.
was your favorite spot?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I mean, they were
Sorry.
all so different and fun, but I gotta say Paris was really amazing, and London too, just because I hadn't played those two cities in like, I don't know, 8 years or
Yeah.
something. It had been a while, yeah. So it was amazing to go back there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, from Paris and London to Livermore. So we're looking forward to that.
Me too.
What should we expect? Like, what the people that are going to come to this performance? What are you planning?
Well, I'm for sure gonna be playing a bunch of songs from my new album that
Hmm.
just came out this year, back in April. It's called Alegoria, and songs like Till Waking Light are on this album. Um,
It's a great album.
Thank you.
Wonderful job.
Thanks so much. And also I'll be doing some songs from previous albums, as
Hmm.
well as some covers like Quizás Quizás, like
Yeah.
songs that are just now part of my repertoire. I always do those songs. Yeah, it'll be fun. I'm bringing my band. We're a quartet with drums, bass, and a guitar player. My dear friend David Garza, who's an amazing, amazing guitar player. And then on drums, Sebastian Imons, and on bass, Keemon Kirk. They're all incredible musicians, and I'm so lucky to get to.
Well, we're really looking forward to it. My last question, I love to ask people what they're listening to right now. Is there anything that's kind of got a good rotation on your iPod or whatever?
Oh man, I'm always listening to Lee Hazelwood.
Yeah.
Who's an incredible singer-songwriter from the 1960s. And also Harry Nilsson. Like,
okay.
I love them. And that's something that's just constantly like I'm constantly going back to those guys. Yeah. Well, as well as like Nina Simone and Ella Fitzgerald and that stuff.
Yeah, well, you have some of that in you. I can hear it. So
thank you.
No, it's like I said, I'm really looking forward to it. We have this great space. The acoustics are really wonderful for someone like you. I think you're going to really enjoy it.
Oh man, I can't wait.
Great.
Yeah, it'll be my last show of the year too.
Well deserved rest afterwards too.
Yeah. So
all right. Well, I want to say thank you again, Gaby Moreno, for joining us. She'll be with us at the Bankhead Theater on Friday, December 2nd at 8 p.m. You can get tickets online at livermorearts.org. And come out and enjoy the show. It's going to be a great one. I will be there, and I'm very much looking forward to it. So thank you very much for your time, Gaby.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.